It's a beautiful day, so you decide to dip your feet into the Pacific surf. Was it a good idea? Maybe not. Hello, my name is Audrey Baker, and today I will be discussing the unseen dangers of the beach, sand piranhas. The research two of my close colleagues and I conducted sought to learn more about sand piranhas, specifically Excirolana Chiltoni. This tiny shoreline-dwelling crustacean is a part of a family called isopods. While there are many varieties of isopods, E. chiltoni is carnivorous. They range across the western coast of North America and have been reported in Japan and possibly Korea as well. Very little is known about these creatures, but after violently experiencing them firsthand, we wanted to know more and see if there was any way to mitigate their attacks. Our hypothesis was that wearing sunscreen would change how many isopods would bite exposed skin compared to skin without sunscreen. We had three predictions. First, our initial thoughts were that there may be ingredient differences which could deter isopods better than others. Second, after coming to the conclusion that there were three types of beachgoers in regards to sunscreen, those who rush in with no absorption time, those who follow the instructions, which is 15 minutes, and those who are extra cautious and allow for much more absorption, we decided to see if different lengths of time could impact the chance of being bitten. And our last prediction was that cream sunscreen would be more adept at preventing isopod attacks than aerosol because the lotion is generally thicker. Our methods were pretty simple. We used pork as our bait, as a recent study showed that pigs are most anatomically and physiologically similar to humans. To narrow our bait selection down further, we implemented the Jensen-Wiener method. This states that the best reflection of a human body is something that has skin on it, so we settled on hot dogs. To catch the isopods, we crafted a net using mesh, duct tape, fishing line, and a treble hook to attach the hot dog to. We then went to Pachena Beach, BC, which is known for its E. chiltoni presence. We first tested brands by comparing Neutrogena Kids, Banana Boat, Garnier Kids, and Sunbum. Each were SPF 50, allowed to absorb for 15 minutes as per the labeled instructions, and were all aerosol. These groups were compared to a control which had no sunscreen at all. We had 3 replicants per brand, which were lowered into the surf to sit for a minute to attract isopods before being pulled up, hand-counted, and recorded. This procedure was repeated for the next 2 experiments as well, though we obviously changed the length of time to absorb and whether or not we were using aerosol or cream. Our brand experiment showed that Garnier significantly reduced the number of isopods that were attracted to skin. Banana Boat and Sunbum also reduced the numbers, though not as much, and Neutrogena did not reduce the number of isopods, being on par with the control group. For absorption, we found no significant difference between 0 minutes, 15 minutes, and 45 minutes of absorption. After comparing aerosol to cream, we found that aerosol did in fact reduce the number of isopods attracted to skin. The cream, however, had significantly higher amounts of isopods compared to any group we had tested throughout the day. One of the counts conducted had 425 individual isopods on one hot dog. Our brand experiment showed that some brands did in fact have better abilities to deter isopods than others. This could have been due to Garnier being much thicker than the other brands. We believe that this is reflective of a common defense mechanism seen in prey. Hagfish, for example, are among many creatures which produce a viscous mucus, which makes bites from predators more difficult as they can't get as much traction. We believe that the thick Garnier sunscreen may have acted as a pseudomucus, thus creating a physical barrier between the flesh and the isopods. Another explanation could have been ingredient differences. Garnier contained 2 additional ingredients, octocrylene and drometrazole triazoloxane. We couldn't find much literature discussing how ingredients impact arthropods, but as chemical signals are very important to crustaceans, we believe it's possible there's a correlation here. Absorption time was interesting in that it yielded no significant difference. We believe this is largely due to 2 factors. Firstly, it's possible that due to the sunscreen being a synthetic applicant, the existence of it on the hot dogs was enough to deter the isopods regardless. Second, it is very likely that the skin of the hot dogs we used was not porous enough to actually allow for proper absorption. Thus, the time of absorption became a moot point. Our last experiment was the most fascinating. We found that not only was there a difference between cream and aerosol, but the lotion sunscreen actually seemed to attract the isopods. As aforementioned, crustaceans often use chemical signals to communicate. The lotion appeared to dissolve in water, dispersing out into the surf, which may have acted as a chemical trail for the isopods to follow. Despite the lack of literature, we believe that this is a very interesting area of study as it could have implications for a lot of other fields as well. For example, open wounds from bug bites have been known to lead to infection and transmission of other afflictions. Even if there isn't a massive risk, it could be potentially useful information for sunscreen brands and beachgoers alike to be more conscientious about which products they're bringing to the beach. In conclusion, we believe that there's much more work to be done on Excirolana Chiltoni and how sunscreen can impact the natural world. And if you don't want to get bit, maybe go for Garnier, not Sunbum. Thank you for watching.